We're going to dig a little deeper into confidentiality. Now, like I said, confidentiality needs to be broken anytime there is a suspicion of physical, emotional, or mental endangerment. So if the student, their physical, emotional, or mental well-being is at risk, we've got to break confidentiality. You've got to tell another trusted adult. Why? Number one, because you love the student, you want the best for them, and who among us could really know what it takes to dig into this by ourselves and to really walk a student through this by ourselves? And number two is because as a youth worker at a church, you are now a mandated reporter, which means that you are required by law to talk about things like this that happen in the life of a student in order to protect the student. So what this means on page 28, if there are certain things that if a student tells you about, you're required by law to report to your superior. In this case, your superior is me. While FCCSM advocates for appropriate confidential leader-student interactions, there are some instances when the confidentiality of leader-student relationship must be broken. And each one of these cases are going to be handled differently. Absolutely handled differently because every student is different. So if you flip to the Youth in Crisis section on page 30, here's the deal. If you suspect a student is in harm's way, state law requires you to report it within 48 hours of hearing it from the student. Harm's way can include, but not limited to, abuse, neglect, suicidal thoughts, underage alcohol usage, prescription drug abuse, recreational drug use, self-harm, severe eating disorder, and the list, unfortunately, goes on and on and on. And just report any suspicions to me, the student ministry pastor, within 48 hours. There's definitions on this page about a physically abused child, a sexually abused child, negligence, youth suicide. If a minor is actively suicidal, just hang up with whoever you're talking to and dial 911, call on behalf of them. And if there's any active crisis situations, just call 911. Don't worry about reporting it to me. Call the proper authorities and have them get things figured out if you find out there's a youth in crisis. Because as you walk into intentional relationship with students, eventually they're going to trust you and they're going to be willing to tell you things that they may not tell anyone else. And you need to be able to be a safe place, but not a secret-keeping place, a personal place, but not a private place for students to talk to you about things. And so with students in crisis, when there is a suspicion of endangerment to a student's physical, emotional, or mental well-being, you've got to say something within 48 hours to me. Again, let's just say that one more time. Within 48 hours of suspecting emotional, physical, or mental endangerment to the well-being of the student, you've got to report it to me. If you're ever unsure, if you're like, oh, I don't know if that was something I should report or not, just talk to me and we'll figure it out. And if it was something you had to report, then we'll talk about it and you can go back to the student and say, hey, I wasn't sure, I talked to a trusted adult, we figured we had to do something about it. And if not, then the student will never know that, will have to know that you talked to me about it, and we'll keep it under the carpet, under wraps, and it'll just be what it is. So just know that if there's any gray areas and you're not sure, just talk to me and we can figure this out together. That's what I'm here to do, to back you up to be the best youth pastor you can be. And so if you're in doubt, just talk to me, we'll figure it out.